Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about how easy it is to make a new weapon, because I'm sure a lot of you guys are excited about the new Braver changes and want to see how overpowered it actually is. However, reinvesting and building a new weapon from scratch does seem a little bit daunting. Well, don't worry, I'm going to be showing you how easy it is to do it, and you actually earn more resources by doing so. Alright, so the very first thing you're going to need to do is go to the shop over here and go to the Meseta treasure shop over here. So as you can see over here, there are a bunch of Trisalio weapons as well as Tristasis armors, which you're able to buy every single day. Now, as a free-to-play, you can actually refresh this. So let's say that you don't have the exact weapon that you want, you're able to refresh it and it's going to give you another page. So in my case, I'm going to buy a Trisalio gunblade. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, wait a second, Caro, you know, aren't you talking about bow bravers and bravers in general? Why would you be buying the gunblade? Well, it's mainly because of the Fixa over here. This one has a Fixa Fatale level 3. As you can see, the katana over here actually has a Fixa Termina level 3. And I'm going to show you a method on how you can use a Trisalio gunblade, but you can actually multi-weapon it with like a bow and just use the bow that way. That way you retain the Fixa 3 Fatale, which is something that I personally prefer over a Termina. Now, of course, if you're actually playing a Slayer, you do want Fixa Termina as a Slayer, but for all the other classes, you probably want either Fatale or Attack, mainly because Fatale gives you crit rate. This gives you 19% crit rate, which is very nice, and Attack just gives you extra attack stat, which is obviously really good. But nevertheless, we're gonna buy our gunblade over here and yoink. So now that we've bought our Trisalio gunblade, the very first thing we are going to need to do is to enhance it all the way to 90. Now, luckily, we actually have a huge discount going on over here. As you can see, Trisalio gunblade, in order to enhance it, we do have a 90% off the N-Meseta cost. However, you're going to notice if we look at page 2, it says max 50. It also says right here, max 50, which means we could only enhance it to 50, which means we're going to need to limit break it. So as we can see here, there is limit break, and we're going to need to limit break this. But again, we get a 90% off on the required materials and a 90% off the N-Meseta required. So you can actually just click on this, and you can see it's actually not going to cost that much. It actually costs zero arms refiners and 0 arms refiners 2, and will cost 21,000 N-Meseta. So we're going to say yes, and we're going to limit break it. Boom, now it's 50 to 60. We're going to need to do this again all the way to 90. Again, it's not going to cost any arms refiners, 1s or 2s. It's going to cost 23,000 N-Meseta. We're going to limit break it one more time. Boom, it's 70. We're going to do it again. Now from 70 to 80, it is going to cost a little bit. It's going to cost 2 arms refiners and 1 arms refiners 2, and still again 23,000 N-Meseta. So we spent like 60 to 70,000 N-Meseta so far to get it to plus 80, and we have to limit break it one more time, and this will cost another 23,000 N-Meseta, and wabam. Alright, so now that we've got our Trisalio gunblade all the way to max, which is 90, now we can enhance it. So, you know, a lot of people are going to be like, okay, Caro, do we need to enhance this the most efficient way and blah, blah, blah? You don't have to. Honestly, because we have the great success rate plus 100%, and we also have the N-Meseta minus 90%, you can honestly just chuck in 10 Endemios every single time and just max it out that way, because you can see that it only costs 5,700 N-Meseta, so you can literally just keep chugging this in. Plus, there is also the 100% success rate, so it is going to give us extra enhancement EXP. So you can literally just keep chugging in your Endemios in, just 10 Endemios, and just keep throwing it in until you get your weapon all the way to plus 90. And there we go. We've got it all the way to plus 90, so that is good to go. However, now this is the part where a lot of people are going to mess up, and they're going to throw their augments in, and they're going to totally screw over their weapon. Now is the time you put in your EX augments onto your Trisalio weapon. So as you can see over here, we do have a clear dim wire over here, which, you know, it's not any good to be honest, but whatever. We're just going to throw those EX augments onto this Trisalio weapon. The reason for this is because you need EX augments on your Trisalio weapon to begin with in order to just replace the EX augments, or else you're going to have to replace all of your augments, which is going to be a very costly mistake. This is something that I have done in in the past. So hopefully you can learn from my mistake and prevent that from happening. So you're going to head over here to augment transfer, and you're going to click on all augment transfers. All right, then you're going to click on your base weapon, which is of course your Trisalio, and then you're going to click on the Clearodim weapon, and that way you can transfer the EX augments over. If you try to do it the other way around, like if you try to go to augment transfer, EX augment transfers, you're going to notice that your weapon does not show up over here because it doesn't have any EX augments on it to begin with. So this is where the big mistake came on my half back in the day, because I had a new weapon, it didn't have EX augments on it. I wanted to transfer the EX augments onto it, but I couldn't do it unless I did all augment transfer. And the thing about the all augment transfer is, well, as you can see, it will absolutely delete all of your previous augments. I'm actually going to show you a better example. If I use my Akroselio weapon and then I do my Clearodim stuff, you can see it will delete all of these expensive augments I have over here. All right, so please don't do that mistake. We're going to go to augment transfer, all augment transfer, click on our Trisalio weapon, click on our Clearodim weapon, and we're going to transfer these EX augments over and say yes. And bada bing, bada boom, complete. So now you can see that our Trisalio weapon has 3 EX augments, which means that we can now transfer EX augments onto this at any given time. So I'm going to show you that right now. We're simply going to unlock this weapon right here. We're going to head over here. We're going to go to augment transfer, EX augment transfer, and we're going to see, voila, it shows up. We click on this and you can just switch over your EX augments without losing any of your other augments, and you're all good to go. Okay, however, we're not done yet, because obviously we do need to unlock our weapon potential. So we have to go over here to unlock weapon potential, click on our Trisalio weapon, and again we get some massive discounts. As you can see, it only costs 10,000 Meseta, and it only costs 5 photon chunks and 10 monotypes and 10 duotypes. However, we are going to need to do this 6 times because weapon potentials actually keep upgrading. So there we go, that's level 1, this is level 2. We got to do level 3 now, and as you can see, the cost does go up a little bit. It went from 10 to 20 to 30,000 Meseta over here, and now it's going to go up to 40,000. So, you know, leveling it up 6 times does cost quite a significant amount of money, like 200,000 Meseta or something. But nevertheless, it is worth it because you do gain a lot of extra damage. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, Kara, why are you upgrading all of this stuff? It's still a Trisalio. It's because when you transfer or when you upgrade your Trisalio weapon into an Akroselio, everything carries over. So you want to just do everything as the Trisalio first before upgrading to the Akroselio. You don't have to do it that way, but I personally just prefer to do it that way. So now that we've got our EX augments on this, we've got our weapon potential, we've got this fully enhanced to 90, now we can just fill up the rest of the augments over here. So what I recommend is going to be LC augments as usual, because you know, LC augments is just very accessible to everyone. You may notice that you've got a whole bunch of little letters over here if you want to sort things out that way. However, I personally just like to type LC over here and sort by rarity, and you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 augments over here are 5-star rarities, which means these are the best LC augments to put in. As you can see, Gladiosol LC is a 4-star rarity, so it is not as good. So that's basically the TLDR. So we're going to put some Grand Gladiosol, we're going to put some Lux Hal Finale, Gland Gigas Maste, and we're going to go more damage. We're going to put a Gigas Trial instead of Grand Dread Keeper. All right, we're going to go confirm. And wada bing, bada boom, bada bing, right there. So as you can see, everything is 100% because they are LC augments, and well, you just put 10 of them and there's no gambling involved. So we're gonna click on Start a Fixed Augment and click yes, and wabam. Once that is done, you can see now we have a fully completed Trisalio weapon, which gives us 38% all potency, which is really, really nice. However, we are not done yet. Remember when I said at the very beginning that we were making a bow, basically, but like I wanted to show you that you can actually multi-weapon a bow with this Trisalio weapon. So what you can actually do is you can head over to the event shop if you still have seasonal points, and you can scroll down over here and simply just buy an Exalio bow. It doesn't matter if you buy it off the seasonal shop or if you buy it off the player shop. Let's say that you need one from the player shop. It's not that big of a deal because we can head over here and we can go to the player shop, and you'll see an Exalio bow is literally 1,000 Meseta. We're gonna head over here, we're gonna do Exalio, and we're gonna find an Exalio bow and search. and you can see, okay, it's 11,000. It's not 1,000, it's 11,000. But personally, you can just farm this. They drop like candy everywhere anyway. So you'll be able to farm this if you want. But if you want to buy it, you can purchase this off the player shop. Here is some advice, some marketing advice for people who want to make a little bit of money. If you want, and if you have a lot of extra seasonal points, you can buy out all of the weapons over here because you can get 2 of every single weapon, right? What you could do is you can buy 2 of every single weapon here and throw them all onto the player shop and sell them for a little bit of money. That way you can exchange your extra seasonal points into a little bit of N-Meseta if you want to do it that way. You can also sell it to your friends, by the way. But back to the topic at hand, we have our Trisalio Gunblade. We're gonna multi-weapon it with an Exalio bow. Yes, you can do this. Let me show you right here. We're gonna go to multi-weapon, we're gonna click on our Trisalio Gunblade, and right here, our Exalio bow shows up. We can click on this and we can multi-weapon it. Now, I'm gonna show you, we can actually do that with our Akroselio Gunblade as well. So we're gonna make our Akroselio Gunblade now. So we head over here, we're gonna go to the equipment upgrade. And as we can see over here on the Akroselio Gunblade, we can now exchange our Trisalio weapon plus all the needed materials over here. Now, do keep in mind, there is no discount on this page, okay? The equipment upgrade, the 150 Evil Volt 3s, 300 Evil Volt 2s, 450 Evil Volt 1s, and 600 Prograde Grinders, you need to have all of these. There is no discount for these items. It's kind of silly that they don't, but it is what it is, all right? So we're gonna do this. We're gonna be changing our Trisalio into an Akroselio Gunblade. As you can see, everything carried over. Our Fixa Fatale 3, our weapon potential, all of our EX augments, all of our LC augments, and of course the enhancement. All right, so everything carried over. We're gonna complete this, and wabam. So now that we've got our Akroselio Gunblade, we're gonna multi-weapon, and you're gonna see right here, the Exalio bow still shows up. So you can multi-weapon any 2 weapons together, even though one is an Akroselio and the other is an Exalio. You can still put them together, which is very, very nice. Now, another thing you can also keep in mind is you can also transfer Fixas from Exalios into Akroselios. So let's say that you get an Exalio Gunblade that has a Fixa 5 Fatale or a Fixa 5 Terminal or something, you can actually rip that Fixa 5 from your Exalio weapon to place it onto your Akroselio weapon, because they are still the same weapon series. So please keep that in mind. But nevertheless, we are simply going to be multi-weaponing these 2 together. As you can see, we're simply going to click yes over here. This does not have a discount. This will cost the full price of 600,000 N-Meseta, as well as 110 Photon Quartz. I do not know why there's no discount here, but it is what it is. So there we go, mash them together, and voila, now we have an Akroselio Gunblade, which is also a bow. So now when I equip this weapon, you can see there is a bow tab here, which I can actually change. You can see that I can actually change all of these, and I can actually use all of these bow PAs, which is going to be really, really awesome. So we're going to use Ceaseless Draw over here, and a weapon action. All right, so now we're gonna head outside, and I'm gonna show you that with this, you can see on my back, it is a Gunblade, right? But the moment I attack, it will transform into a bow because we actually multi-weaponed it with a bow. So you can see we're outside, there's a target, we're simply gonna auto attack, and voila, look, it turned into a bow. Now, there's something to keep in mind over here, and that is the bow will still look like an Exalio bow, because we multi-weaponed an Exalio bow with our Akroselio weapon. So the bow itself does not look like an Akroselio. However, it does retain all of the Akroselio stats, all right? So it will have the same weapon potential as the Akroselio. It'll have all the stats over here. All of this works with the bow. It's just that the exterior of the bow looks like an Exalio weapon, all right? But as you can see, like all my photon arts work, I can use Ceaseless Draw over here, boom, boom, boom. Everything is good to go, and it's exactly working as intended, which is very, very nice. Now, if I ever decide to use the Gunblade, I can simply switch my main class over to a Slayer, and I'll be able to use the Gunblade as well as all the different PAs. Now, if you have not made an Akroselio weapon before, and this is the very first time you're actually making this, you actually get rewarded 1 million Meseta N-Meseta for just making it, which actually covers the majority of all the costs. Editor Care over here, as you guys may have seen in the footage, you actually get that 1 million Meseta for making an Akroselio after the update. So even if you have an Akroselio, like I had my katana obviously, because I made this gunblade, I did gain an additional 1 million N-Meseta. So even if you already have an Akroselio, just make another one in order to get that extra million. You don't have to multi-weapon, and that way you actually make money for making another one. All right. And if you haven't completed the story yet, please make sure you complete the story. You get 5 million N-Meseta and 100 sergeants for just completing the story. And last but not least, for my friends who are curious, this is a comparison between a free-to-play weapon, basically a fully LC augment, versus a full endgame weapon with a Lars augment and an Addy augment. Remember, these two are kind of like the pay-to-win augments. Let me show you the potency difference. It's actually not that big. As you can see, fully free to play is 38% all potency versus the full whaled out version is only 43.7. Now, I do understand I do have one EX augment over here, which is of course EX Lively Starling, which actually gives me 5% and not 5.5% because there's 1.5% potency, which is conditional. So it technically, this should be a little bit higher by like 44% or something, but it's still not that big of a difference, to be honest. So if you're just the average player and you just play the game for fun and you're just chilling and you're not like a speedrunner or super hardcore player, just stick with the LC augments because they're so easy to get. You get showered with these, and then just make sure that you do upgrade to the new EX augments. Do not throw in all of your LC augments first, only to realize that, oh wait, I gotta redo everything because I need my EX augments on here, all right? Please do not make that mistake. If you get anything out of today's video, that is the most important step. Do not mess up that step, okay? Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you again. But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye.